Oh yes, we are back. Welcome to another edition of Marketplace, the NBL's look at the free agency period. And just when you thought that things had quietened off a little bit and we were in a bit of a holding pattern until Summer League, big news has broken. I'm Jack Heverin. I'm alongside the best newsbreaker in Australian basketball, Olgun Uluc from ESPN.com.au. Olgun, welcome to you. And if you're a Sydney Kings fan, it's time to listen up.
Yeah, look, Jack, there was an impression that the Sydney Kings were sort of sitting on their hands a little bit. That was never the case. There was a sense they were just waiting to make a splash, and this is the splash. My reporting over at ESPN is that DJ Hogg has signed a 2-year deal with the Sydney Kings, a mutual option on the second year of that deal, and it can't be said enough how monumental of a signing this is. This is one of the premier imports from last season, was an All-NBL second-team guy with the ex-Taipans, an elite two-way player, could score at all three levels, absolute hot property on the NBL free agency market this offseason, and the Sydney Kings were able to get him, and he's their first import signing of this offseason.
And I guess in some respects, different type of player, but it does go a long way to filling the hole that Xavier Cooks has left.
And that's the expectation, both from Hogg and from the Sydney Kings, is that DJ Hogg will fill MVP shoes. That is his expectation from day one, that he will be an MVP level player from the moment he steps into the Sydney Kings headquarters. And the Sydney Kings knew that. They had a really good look at him during that semi-final series where it took a really gargantuan effort from Justin Simon to basically stick on him in Game 3 of that semis, just to stop the Taipans from getting to the grand final. And obviously the Sydney Kings went and they won a championship, back-to-back titles. But the Sydney Kings knew when they saw him that this is the player we want. He's that stretch four that can really excel in the NBL, and they feel like they can help him get to that next level, which is the NBA.
Well, he's 26 years of age, so he's in his prime if he wants to get to the NBA. I'm just picturing the whiteboard in Chris Pongrass's office at the Sydney Kings HQ, and I'm picturing a big tick next to the 4 position at DJ Hogg. Am I right in saying that the next tick that they'll want to make sure that they lock away is a point guard?
You are right. We have said this for the entirety of this season's marketplace. It is historically what Chris Pongrass and the Sydney Kings have done. They've gone after really high-level import point guards, and this season will be no different. I'm told that the money that DJ Hogg is on isn't so immense that they can't go get a really good point guard. I'm told that there is still so much money left over to get a really high-level guy at the one spot. That is the priority now. That's what the Sydney Kings will go into Summer League in Las Vegas looking for, that really high-level guy. And based on the history of this team, and you think of Jalen Adams, you think of Derek Walton Jr., history suggests that they'll probably nail it.
While we're on the Sydney Kings, it's still relatively new, the news that Chase Buford won't be on the sidelines next season. Do we have any update on that coaching position for them?
Nothing significant. I keep being told that the process is still in its infancy stages. It is an extensive search. They're just going through basically everything they can, reaching out to all of the contacts and the contacts, and the contacts stretch from Chris Pongrass's connections to Andrew Bogus to Luke Longley's. We're aware at this point of the breadth of the network that the Sydney Kings have, but right now that it's a holding pattern. They're really early in that situation, and so no real update just yet.
One of your most recent reports via ESPN.com.au and on your Twitter feed as well really interests me when it comes to the Next Stars program. We'll talk about the interest in it in a moment, but there's a potential big name out there that could land in the NBL.
Yeah, Ron Holland, who on ESPN's Class of 2023 rankings is the number 2 recruit. You got to think of like a big, athletic, defensive-minded wing who can shoot it. He's exactly what NBA teams want now. When you think of the 3-4 spot, the sort of spot that DJ Hogg will fill with the Kings in the NBL, it's the spot that every NBA team wants as well, and that's what Ron Holland is. That is a name that Holland has been offered by the NBL to join the Next Stars program. He's also been offered by the G League Ignite, who we met with yesterday. There's also interest in him potentially going to a different college program, and so there's still a lot of water to go under that bridge. But he is one of many really, really high-level names that the Next Stars program is going after.
Am I right in saying, and a shout out to Liam Santamaria as the general manager of the Next Stars program is doing a wonderful job. So am I right in saying that, to me, it feels like there's more interest in the Next Stars program from every team in the NBL than any other year? Is that fair?
Yes. It starts with just interest in players from across the world, whether it be, Americans in high school, whether it be, those young players in Europe or elsewhere abroad. There is interest to join the Next Stars program and to follow in the footsteps of guys like LaMelo, guys like Josh Giddey, guys like Ryan Rupert. But there's also a sense that I get speaking with decision makers around the league that it seems like every team is in on an Next Star. Every team is, we talk about this, it's quite silent right now with free agency, right? We're only getting little bits and pieces. Obviously the Hogg news is huge, but every team is sort of waiting right now. They're waiting to see which Next Stars might say yes. And if they do say yes, are we going to get them? And that's why you see really talented players out there. You think of like a Majuk Deng or a Deng Deng or Carl Adnam. These are guys who might otherwise have gotten jobs in the NBL already, but teams right now, they seem to be waiting on if they can get a Next Star. And if they can, then their strategies might shift.
Some spaces still to be filled. We watched that one with interest. Let's finish up with Bales, who departed from the Sydney Kings midway through last season. He's getting a second chance here in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
Yeah, that's with the Illawarra Hawks. He signed a 2-year development player deal. The relationship between Bales and head coach Jacob Jackomas goes back a few years in the New South Wales Metro State program. They go back a long way, and so when there weren't too many options out there for Bales, the Hawks emerged as one, and he's still of age where he can sign as a development player, and so it's a good pickup for that program. I've been down there a few times this offseason, and the one thing that they keep telling me is that at the very least, he will be among the most competitive players on the floor in a practice or in a shoot around or something like that. And that's something that this team feels it needs and also helps with the growth of Bales. His departure from Sydney, it didn't look great, right? And that's being completely honest. And so joining the Illawarra Hawks, this gives him a fresh beginning, and hopefully it's something that he can turn into a roster spot in a few years.
We wish him all the best in his new journey. Olgun, as always, great to see you on the marketplace. Plenty happening, I'm sure. We'll chat again soon.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks for being with us. And of course, you can stay up to date with the free agency period right across nbl.com.au and all of the NBL social media platforms. Until next time, thanks for watching.